al final hay una situación donde todos las vimos.
Claro.
¿No?
Sí, es
Digamos,
obvio.
esto no es subjetivo.
No es subjetivo, es
Esto no es,
simplemente
esto es objetivo. Cuando vos pegás a un rival sin el balón, ¿qué es? ¿Qué es?
agresión.
¿Y qué es una agresión? ¿Qué es? ¿Qué corresponde?
La tarjeta.
¿Qué tarjeta? ¿Qué color?
La roja.
Amarillo.
No.
¿Qué color?
La tarjeta la que sabemos que es para la roja, obviamente.
Listo. Esto es claro. Al final no es una cuestión de interpretación.
Claro.
Acá no hay interpretación. ¿No? Lo dejo para ustedes, que son los que opinan. Yo trato de de planear un partido y tratar de darle herramientas a mi equipo. Pero ustedes que lo ven de afuera y que opinan, estaría bueno que opinen también. Y te aclaro, no. Agresión sin balón es roja. Acá, en China y en la Luna.
I was able to see it a little bit in the corner of my eye with the VAR screen. There's contact. There's contact prior to that from the opposing player. I applaud the decision not to send guys off the field, and I would say the same thing if it was the reverse, if it was a Miami player who was in question. I think those type of plays where it's not very clear and it's not a clear attempt to injure an opponent, I think we need to keep those players on the field as much as we can.
All right, it's not a clear attempt to injure. What do you think? Is he right there?
I love me some Steve Cherundolo.
Oh, here comes a big butt.
But the fact that he says if it was a Miami player, I would say the same thing. No. You'd be sitting here talking about how your player took not one but two hands to the face, and in a play that wasn't even an attempt to play the ball. The ball wasn't even in play in his section. Nathan Ordaz is a very young player, but you could see the look in his eyes when they are reviewing this. You could see the look in his face when they give him yellow card. It's one of relief. He knows he got away with one. I do see. CONCACAF is so unique, unlike any other confederation in the world, because you have a South American style in Inter Miami and a very North American style in LAFC being handled by a Jamaican referee. So what is a foul in one part of the world is not a foul in another part of the world.
But surely that can't explain what happened here.
No, this explains why the referee who had the final say in this went with what he did, because they gave him an opportunity to go check the VAR. Hey, we think there's a clear and obvious mistake here, one that I think was actually a clear and obvious mistake. That is a red card offense. It doesn't matter if it's contact or not. The intent of contact is a red card offense. If you attempt to hit your opponent in the face with your hand and also make contact, that's a red card offense. I don't care how you slice this up. It's one that got away, and like you said, surely it won't come back to bite him in the behind. He ends up scoring the game-winning goal.
It's always the case. What do you think? What's the explanation? Is the ref? Because what I hear in Cherundolo say is, I'm glad he respected the moment and didn't send a player off. Is that the explanation that the ref can have? That he didn't want to send a player off?
No, a red card is a red card, regardless or should be, regardless of the competition, regardless of the stage of the game, whatever it may be. And general rule of thumb, anywhere in the world, hands to face is a red card. I think Ordaz also has a little bit of a kick out, which maybe doesn't connect. That on its own, the kick out on its own, is a yellow card. The hands to face on its own is a red card, all day, every single day. So how anybody begins to explain what the referee sees here.
Gets him twice.
He doesn't get him twice.
Exactly. This is a red and a yellow card. If we really want to stick to the letter of the law here, and then again, of course, not only does Ordaz step up and score the goal as he does, but just the fact that LAFC are playing with 11 men on the park in the first leg of a two-leg tie. It changes everything about the 180 minutes over the course of, well, these two ties. And for me, to begin to explain it, I think it's disingenuous. Cherundolo trying to do so, again, is disingenuous. I will guarantee that before long, he'll be called upon to answer for something or go back on those words. it's beyond me as to how or why this ever stood.
It's a real head scratcher, huh?
The beauty of going last when we all agree, right? What am I supposed to say now? The only thing I got out of it, I don't care if it's Jamaican referee and style of play, although I hear you, right? Laws of the games are laws of the game. Steve Cherundolo, you are very, very, very lucky, man. Even though your team was much, much better because Inter Miami were disastrous in that game, including our friend Leo Messi, right? But you look at this, and 99% of the time when we judge these things, we always say, well, we can't judge intent. We don't know what in players' head. We knew what it was in his head, right? As you said, the ball wasn't anywhere near. I tell you, the worst one was, which we couldn't truly tell, was the way he led with his forearm and elbow. That's the one. I mean, that one could have been, the other one, Falcone, he bit into it. Young player, Falcone knew exactly what he was doing. He was embellishing in the end. But that forearm, the elbow, then also the kick below, I mean, what else do you have to do to get a red card?
I mean, for all that...
Very, very lucky, and Cherundolo is full of it here.
For all that, there's this kind of assumption that, all right, if he does get the red card, the game plays out differently. For sure it does. But the assumption then that Inter Miami would win, I don't know if I can go with that assumption because they were so bad for the 90 minutes of this game, independent of whether that decision was made or not. I mean, this is, for me, one of the worst performances we've seen from Inter Miami. Am I wrong?
Certainly under Javier Mascherano, absolutely. You talk about how bad they were. Messi wasn't bad. He just
wasn't good.
No, hold on. Messi wasn't bad. He just wasn't Messi. And for us, that's a bad performance because he wasn't Messi. He was actually probably the best player they had. And if you look at why he couldn't get anything going, Steve Cherundolo sat back. He put 3 players on there, Igor Jesus, Marky Delgado, and Tillman. And anytime he got the ball, they were like flies. They swarm in, and he had no room to operate in the interior lanes. He, at the end of the game, started going out wide, trying to find the ball. You could say what you want about maybe they wouldn't have done well against 10 men, but the way they were going, that would have been a massive relief. LAFC is a team that has been very Jekyll and Hyde this year. They've either been all in and they've been decent, or they've been very, very bad, terrible.